All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shema, Shah, by Shimmer, Kakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to the Akim out there preaching the word of sincerity and the truth. It's the brother Balls off from Great Millstone, Atlanta. And I have a lesson going into basically older men, don't get too familiar with younger men, and likewise, vice versa. Younger men don't get too familiar with older men. And, of course, Apostle Gabar did a lesson on that, dealing with familiarity breeds contempt. And that's definitely true. And a lot of times these things could stem from just oversaturation of friendship, just constantly getting up and drinking and basically being in the spirit of Mary, instead of really establishing, the brothers on a level, so to speak. And in this truth, you have to move very, very keenly with the men that you're amongst, because some men, they're looking to, just build a relationship, a friendship, aside from standing on top of their duties and obligations. And if you're around a man too closely, then what happens is that familiarity, it breeds contempt. All right, the man that you're actually amongst, he doesn't really respect you to the level he should. He kind of oversteps what you put out, because at the end of the day, he's seen the other side of you. He's seen the playful, he's seen the childish side of you, where you getting drunk and you're speaking wildly, you're saying anything, just flapping out in the mouth. And then when you go back to the serious mode of trying to establish certain things and get certain things straightened out, all he sees in the spirit of you is that foolishness. And of course, just like Apostle Gabar said, every brother has a level of foolishness in him. At the end of the day, we all have characteristics. We all are we joke around, we play, we do a little bit of everything. But as far as just dealing with brothers in the spirit, you have to always consider the man that you're amongst, and stay in really commune and stay in the spirit with men in your ranks. You never go wrong with dealing with men that's amongst you. If you a brother that's been around for 8-9 years, more than likely you should deal with a brother that's either been in for 10 plus years, or that's been in for 7 to 6 years. But going all the way down to a man that's been around for 7 months, and you amongst him constantly trying to get up with him and link with him, that's not wisdom. That's not wise at all. He still has a lot of basics, breakdowns that he doesn't understand. He still needs to get on a basic level before he can actually get on an advanced level. And going into the scripture right here in Exodus, the 18th chapter, when Moses, through Jethro, established ranks, he established it, and it was a dividing line between the men. All right, this is Exodus 18:20. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein thou must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear the Most High, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them. Right, so the men that were to be amongst the ranks, the rulers, they would have to be men of truth, hating covetousness, and fear the Most High. It says to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s and rulers of 10s. So these individuals that had those good qualities and characteristics, the Most High, through the spirit of through Jethro working on with Moses, he established rank and file. All right. If it was certain younger men that had certain gripes, they had certain problems, they would go to the ruler of 10. The ruler of 10, if he had a bigger problem, he would go unto the bigger ruler. The rulers, and if it gets too big, too complex, then that's when you go to the high judge or the high priest, which at that time was Moses, which was the king. He was known as the king of Jeshurun. And all the small things, the minute things, it would be dealt with from younger men. So even in the time of Moses, in that time of Yahweh Shah, you had a hierarchy. All right, and we have to emulate and replicate that same fashion. It's a hierarchy in this truth. That's why you have elder teachers, you have captains, you have the leaders, and you have younger men. And those younger men shouldn't be buddy-buddy rubbing shoulders all the time with older men. All right, and that goes even to inviting all kind of men in your spot. You know, if you're an older man, you letting the whole camp come in your house. Here, there's 20, 25 brothers in the camp. All 25 of them is in one spot. The garage is crammed up with cars, and it's just tacky. All right, that can become overkill. All right, the best thing to do is just to deal with men in your quarters, and then you have these younger men. They actually deal amongst themselves. And Esau even knows that in the public school system, man. You know, you don't have kindergartners in class with 10th graders. Here it is, the 10th grader is learning his ABCs. That doesn't make any sense. The kindergartners, they have to learn their ABCs. They have to go from kindergarten, first grade, all the way up from elementary school, which that's a school of children, and then they go to middle school, and then they'll eventually graduate from middle school and go to high school. And after high school, of course, is college, which is the higher learning, so on and so forth. So it's the same thing in its truth. All right, of course, the children play at the playground. Even myself, when I first came in, I would be amongst a lot of brothers in my same age bracket, and it helped me grow due to the fact that we had a lot of inconsistencies amongst each other, so to speak. We wasn't as sharp, and when it came to judgment and dealing, so we had to kind of wrestle with points to figure these things out, to come up with the common understanding, and that actually helped us grow rather than just being fed I would say spoon fed constantly. These younger men, they have to have time to grow, have time to go through these different things amongst each other, so that they could actually have more of an understanding when it comes to the truth, gaining spiritual experience. So it says, and let them judge the people at all seasons, and it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee. Right. So the big matters was for Moses to judge and to deal with, and the more small, minute matters, they were for the other captains to judge. And Esau even follows that principle also, even in his system today. You'll have basically local petty crimes where you don't have to go to a federal court for misdemeanors and things of that nature. Here it is, you stealing from the store, they're gonna charge you federally. That doesn't make sense. Now when you commit a federal offense, you robbing a bank, you're actually touching federal property, and that's when they're gonna judge you federally, because it's a bigger case. Is being the charges that you're being charged with are more offensive, so it has to be dealt with on a whole nother circuit branch of the court. So it's the same thing that applies even with brethren. When brothers are amongst each other, the matters even they deal with their gripes and their problems. That's why you have a captain that's over them brothers, and they go to that brother and he judges it. And if he misjudges it, of course, or he has a level of unskillfulness, then he goes up top. He goes up to another brother, and that brother goes to the next brother. All right, and if it's too high for the of course, the highest man, that's when it goes to the apostles and elders. But the smallest matters, you don't bring the smallest matters to the apostles and elders. All right, the young man is just going off, and it's only a couple scriptures that you have to tell him for him to shake right, but you're going to jump to the apostles and elders and tell him. That's showing a level of basically not having the spirit of discernment and judgment. So verse 23, if thou shalt do this thing, and the Most High command thee so, then thou shalt be able to endure, and all this people shall also go to their place in peace. So Moses hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard causes they brought unto Moses, but every small matter they judged themselves. So it's the same thing that applies today. When men have certain matters, certain gripes, they should judge it amongst themselves. That's why you have levels to even younger men. You have levels to officers, where the officer might have to step in and he might have to judge it. But if it supersedes their experience level of judgment, that's when you go to the chief judge. all right, which at the time was Moses. He had a level of experience that those judges didn't even have to even deal with certain matters. So it says, and Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way into his own land. And really, that's just the main thing I wanted to hit, just a main scripture. Of course, it's other scriptures that actually can apply to this theme, through the spirit, just of just kind of keeping a level of division with brothers, so the brothers actually have time to grow, time to gather experience, time to actually understand themselves in this walk. And then, of course, when they grow to a certain level, it's still well in the spirit. You grow to the next level, But as things remain, of course, this thing isn't about kicking it and just being amongst each other, kicking back shots and barbecuing. It has to be levels, it has to be ranks, it has to be order, and it has to be a level of austerity and solemnity. Solemnness when dealing with this truth. So I want to end by giving all